My name is Bruno. I'm an executive in the company. And the person I've got the utmost respect for in introducing tonight is someone we've really become close friends. Mr. Foley is a family man. He has 4 beautiful children. This gentleman here is actually has a background in foreign exchange. So he's been a trader for the last 12 years and went on to become a Forex educator with over 1,000 clients in Perth. He moved to crypto trading last year and he traded an investment portfolio over 6 figures, guys. He's very passionate about this space, about the crypto and blockchain tech. And now is very excited about, Omnia and where it's going, being at the right place at the right time in Australia, and really being able to create mass adoption in the crypto space. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce to the line, Mr. Foley. Kane, are you there, sir?
Yes, loud and clear. Thanks, Bruno. Appreciate that introduction, mate.
Not a problem. Over to you, mate.
Thank you very much. Well, everyone, welcome to the line. Really appreciate you jumping on this webinar, whether you are a business partner and already an investor with us here in Omnia, or whether you've been invited along to the line by one of your friends or business contacts. Appreciate you coming along, and really respect your time, and we'll make sure we bring as much value as we can to this presentation. And over the next 30-40 minutes, you'll have a full understanding of the opportunity we have here with Omnia and what we're doing and how that may be able to fit in for you. But just before I do get into that, again, Bruno, thanks for that introduction, and it's a pleasure to be working with someone like yourself, a caliber of your businessman, to be rolling out Omnia here in Australia. Very exciting. So yeah, really excited to be doing that with you, mate. And just some brief introduction. I know Bruno already gave some on my background, but I'll just quickly touch on it again. I am a foreign exchange trader for many years, close to 12 years now. And I did have upwards of over 1,000 clients that I was looking after in Perth, Western Australia. That's where I live now. And, traded those markets for many years. And it was probably early last year that I had some close friends of mine, one in particular who is now a business partner of mine here with Omnia, and also a strong investor with Omnia, who introduced me to the crypto space. And I don't know about you, but when I first looked at cryptocurrencies, I had no idea what they were or how they worked. And sure enough, when you don't understand something, generally you're fearful of it, right? And that was me. So I stayed trading foreign exchange for far too long. And I wish I'd invested and looked into cryptocurrencies earlier than I did. However, I'm also very thankful that I, have delved into this market. And I know there's many of you on the line that have already done that and already have large crypto portfolios. And I'm also aware that there's people on the line here that are maybe hearing about cryptocurrencies for the very first time and, really overwhelmed by this market. So I'll do my very best to explain this presentation in a way that the brand new people to the cryptocurrency market can understand what we're doing, and also provide a lot of value for those of you that are, well invested in the crypto space, and whether you've got a large portfolio of altcoins and invested in ICOs and all those different things. So we'll make sure that everyone can follow along and understand. So yeah, I came from Forex, guys, and procrastinated on investing in the crypto space. And thankfully, though, a close friend of mine said, "Kane, you really must come and check it out," and I did. And that was early last year when I first looked at it. It was mid last year when I really started delving into it and researching the technology behind cryptocurrencies, which is the blockchain technology. And that's really the most exciting part about all this, to be honest. And then I, ended up investing quite heavily and traded a strong six-figure portfolio, and invested into a lot of different altcoins and ICOs. And for those of you that are brand new to cryptocurrencies, you're probably like, what the heck is he talking about? What's an altcoin? What's an ICO? But just for those of you that are in the crypto market, just explaining a little bit about my background and how I came to be here. So I was I was looking for something to really get my teeth into in terms of the cryptocurrency space, and looking for an avenue to bring new investors on, and something that we could provide a lot of value. And this is where Omnia comes in. And I must admit, I had lots of different companies put across my table and opportunities put across my table over the last 12 months. And turned every single one of them down. I must admit there's a lot of rubbish out in the cryptocurrency space, and being a widely unregulated market, unfortunately, there's a lot of sharks out there that have, tried to take advantage of new investors. And so this is where, I spent a lot of time doing my due diligence on Omnia and the company behind it, and, their mining farms and so on. And so as we go into this presentation, I'll explain a little bit more about that and some of the due diligence that I did, and how Omnia really set themselves apart from, from their competition here in the market. So before we get into who Omnia is and what they do, I just want to talk a little bit about the evolution of currencies and how cryptocurrencies fit into this. So going back many, many, many years ago, before any of us were alive, they used to use what was called the barter system. And literally they would, take a tomato and trade that for a grain, right? And then that person that had those grains would take those grains and trade them for vegetables, and then vegetables for livestock. And that's how the world, transferred value, was through a barter system. Bruno, I'll just get you to mute your mic, please, mate. Thanks. Then after the barter system, we had the gold coins. And gold coins then became the known medium of exchange, and everyone, saw value in that gold coin, and no longer was the barter system so widely used, but now gold coins was, that exchange of value. Then, as we know, paper money was introduced, and paper money back when it was first introduced was actually backed by gold coins. And that ceased to exist in the either late 60s or early 70s. The gold standard was removed, and now the paper money is sort of, only is worth as much value as what we place on it, because essentially it has no intrinsic value anymore because it's not backed by gold anymore. And I've heard a lot of people say to me, generally the uneducated will say, hey, Kane, I heard you're, getting in on this Bitcoin. What's this Bitcoin you're doing? And then they'll say the next thing, which always gets me laughing, is, but Bitcoin essentially is worthless. It has no intrinsic value. It's nothing but just figures in the air. And it always makes me laugh, because this sort of leads into the next evolution of currencies, which was the card system. And the card system, as we know, credit cards, FPOS cards, we've all got them. They're all in our wallets. That has now overtook paper money in a huge way, right? A lot of people don't use cash anymore. I know I rarely have cash in my wallet. I don't know about you, but it's definitely been phased out in the economy. You would have to agree with that. And we all use card systems and FPOS now. And when we use a card system, that is essentially a digital currency, isn't it? Because we swipe it, we don't actually exchange anything. We just pay, pass, or swipe, and those digits move from one account to another. And then from there, we moved into, the next part of the digital system, which was bank transfers and wire transfers. And that was, how we move money around the world. And then the sixth evolution of currency here, and this is without a doubt the largest shift of wealth we will ever witness in our lifetime, and it is cryptocurrencies. And this is what we're really excited about. Now, we're going to be mostly talking about Bitcoin tonight, and Omnia do mine other currencies like Ethereum and Dash, but we'll get into that. So for those of you that are brand new to the crypto market and Bitcoin is essentially like all other currencies. When we send Australian dollars from one account to another, we don't literally have that cash move from one account to another, do we? It's just digits moving behind the scenes. It's just digits moving from one account to another account, and that is very much what Bitcoin is like. And Bitcoin is like other currencies in the fact that we can actually send it just like an email. And I don't know if you remember back when email was first introduced, but I remember people saying, "Oh, look, that'll never take off." Email it'll never rival the Australia Post, right? People writing a letter, putting it into an envelope, taking it to the post office. Email will never overtake that. And now look, we all use email every single day. It's just about on every phone and every laptop that anyone has. And Bitcoin is in a similar place right now. You hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, it'll never take off. It'll never reach mass adoption." Whereas, that's generally people that haven't, and I was one of those people. Okay, so I was someone that was thinking, I can't see how this will ever take off. And it wasn't until I really delved into, the blockchain technology, and then understanding what cryptocurrencies are and how much value they're bringing to the market and how many problems they're solving, that I became extremely excited. And as I said, Bitcoin's like an email. However, it's a much cheaper solution than a bank transfer. And we can also protect our money from inflation. And then lastly, it's peer-to-peer. And this is the part that you really need to understand. And this is what's so powerful about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. Bitcoin does not require a third party, such as a bank, to transfer your money. So essentially what it's doing is it's taking the huge amounts of power that these huge conglomerates have, being the banking industry. It's taking the power from them and putting the power back into the hands of us. We now have full control over our money when we use it. We don't have to run that transfer through a third party. We can just the click of a button, send Bitcoin from our wallet to any other wallet in the world. And we can send money to people that don't even have access to the banking industry. And we know that a huge percentage of the planet are unbanked. They literally don't have access to banks. And this is one major issue that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are going to solve. This is a great statement, and it says, what the internet has done for the information and media world, the blockchain technology is going to do for the financial system. Now, you might recognize this guy. And again, this is, someone like Bill Gates is a big investor in the crypto space. And he says the secret of success in business is in detecting where the world will go and getting there first. And I don't know about you, but before I actually spent a bit of time researching cryptos and Bitcoin, being, in the uneducated state that I was, I was sort of getting my Bitcoin advice as such from mainstream media. And you would have to agree with me that mainstream media aren't painting the best picture of cryptocurrencies. And there's a reason for that, right? We already talked about what industries are going to stand to lose the most from this transfer of wealth that's happening with cryptocurrencies. It's the banking industry. And I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole, but we know that the same people that own the banking industry also own the media, right? So we're going to get a bit of a slanted view on cryptocurrencies if we're getting our advice from mainstream media or from our mate down the road who heard from a friend of a friend of a friend that Bitcoin is a bad investment. I would rather take my advice from the likes of Bill Gates and many other men and women of his caliber that have invested heavily into the crypto space. There are now large institutional hedge funds that are now managing multi-billion-dollar funds in the crypto space only. So please don't take your advice from your next door neighbor who has just got his advice from the news on cryptocurrencies, because there is huge upside to this market. And as we can all agree, someone like Bill Gates is someone worth listening to, right? Let's have a little bit of a look at a Bitcoin performance chart. And this is really good for someone to see that's new to this market. Now, many, many years ago, 8 years ago, in fact, 31st of the 3rd, 2011, Bitcoin was trading at 70 cents. Who wishes I'd bought some Bitcoin back then? I'm definitely one of those. I wish I'd bought Bitcoin back when it was 70 cents. And another common misconception that you might have heard in this market is, you've missed, if you haven't already bought Bitcoin by now, you've missed the boat. Train took off. That is the furthest thing from the truth I've ever heard. This market is so new and has so much upside that we are literally the early adopters of this space. I was reading an article the other day that less than 10% of the world has actually heard of cryptocurrencies, and less than 1.5% of the world actually owns cryptocurrencies. So if you actually own any cryptocurrency, Bitcoin or any of the altcoins, you're literally in the 1.5% of the planet that owns them. So for those of you that are looking at it right now and are yet to get into this market, you can be assured that you are still part of the early adopters looking at this market right now. This ship has yet to sail. There is so much upside to this market. It's very exciting. And so here you can see after a year, it was trading at $4.90, then $93, $57. If we go through to here we are a year ago, 31st of March 2017, Bitcoin was trading at $1,000. And then 31st of March 2018, just 5 weeks ago now, Bitcoin was trading at $7,000. Current market price on Bitcoin, I looked earlier today, it was trading at a bit over $9,000. Now, if you followed the market at all, you will have noticed that Bitcoin reached an all-time high of nearly 20,000 US dollars at the end of December, early January. And this is very typical of this market. It is a very volatile market, has some wild swings. And you probably have heard mainstream media talk about the Bitcoin bubble has burst. Oh, it cracks me up. I've literally said that like 26, 27 times over the last, 8 or 9 years. And Bitcoin was actually developed by a person or an entity we don't know, named Satoshi Nakamoto, and it was developed back in 2009. And from 2009 till now, Bitcoin's bubble has burst so many times, according to the media. And so here we are right now with Bitcoin having moved from 7,000 back to just over 9,000 right now. So the market sentiment is definitely feeling very bullish at the moment. Here's some facts for you about the cryptocurrency market. Over 10,000 people have become millionaires thanks to cryptocurrencies. The cryptocurrency market has grown more than 10,000% in less than 4 years. Cryptocurrency, I know I've said this already, but it's worth saying again. Cryptocurrency is the fastest growing value transfer phenomenon in history. I can't stress this enough. We are literally going to see the largest shift of wealth, or the largest transfer of wealth, that we will ever witness in our lives, over these next, few years as this market reaches mass adoption. Mass adoption being 1 out of every 2 people have Bitcoin. Right now, we know that 1.5% of the planet have Bitcoin, so huge upside. Due to a partnership with Visa and MasterCard, you can pay at 36 million points of sales worldwide. So not only is Bitcoin now a speculative instrument, and a store of wealth, but it is being used and can be used, as we can see, as in 36 million points of sales worldwide. Now, if you're brand new to crypto, you probably haven't heard of Ethereum. If you've been in the crypto market for any more than 10 minutes, you definitely will have heard of Ethereum. Ethereum is another currency that we mine with Omnia, and another one is Dash. So we mine Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dash, but mostly we're going to be talking about Bitcoin tonight, okay? So how do you get cryptos? And this is something that obviously every new investor goes through. And this is kind of a challenge in your mind when you're first looking at crypto market. Man, where do I start? There's so much information out there. How do I get into the market? And traditionally, what you would have to do is go to market and buy it. And what that would mean would be setting up an exchange account. And there's quite a few different exchange accounts, exchange providers that you can choose from, BTC Markets, Coinbase, there's another service called CoinSpot. So there's quite a lot of different ways that you can go and get your fiat money, fiat being Australian dollars or US dollars, and transfer it for Bitcoin. So that is the first way. You literally go to market and buy it at market price. Now, the downside I see to that is exactly what I just said. You can only buy at market price. So right now, if you wanted to go to market and buy 1 Bitcoin, you would pay the current market value of 1 Bitcoin, which is a bit over 9,000 US dollars. Another way you can increase your portfolio, and I'm a big believer in this, is trading. Trading requires a particular skill set though, and it is definitely not for a brand new investor. And it's not something that I would feel comfortable recommending to a new investor or anyone new to the cryptocurrency space, because let's be realistic with each other. Trading requires huge amounts of skill and knowledge. You need to be able to understand technical analysis and how to read charts. You need to be able to understand fundamental analysis. You need to be able to predict support and resistance points. And, there's so much to it, right? So while it's a great way, and if you have that skill and understanding on how to trade the market, then phenomenal way of increasing your amount of Bitcoin. Because what this whole presentation is about, guys, is not only helping you to get Bitcoin, but increase the amount of Bitcoin, because there's so much upside to this market that the more Bitcoin we can accumulate and hold in our wallets, in our possession, the better for us and our families moving forwards. A quick stat for you is that 90% of all traders, it's actually 95% of all traders blow their entire account within the first 90 days of trading. So like I said, while it's a phenomenal way and something I do personally, I definitely wouldn't feel comfortable recommending that to a new new investor or someone new to the crypto space. And this is where mining comes in. So we're talking about buying from an exchange versus mining. Now, what's mining? Again, if you're new to the crypto space, you're probably thinking what I was thinking and picturing someone with a mining for an axe and literally trying to mine Bitcoins. And I've had people say to me, Kane, where do they actually mine these Bitcoins from? Like what country, or where do they come from? They don't come out of the ground. Okay, so mining is just the term for these what are essentially supercomputers that run these mining algorithms and solve complex mathematical problems, and by doing so are rewarded with Bitcoin. So that is how Bitcoins are created. And just something for you to understand is back when Satoshi Nakamoto first created Bitcoin and the algorithm around it, you could mine Bitcoin from your personal laptop. And people were doing that. So back in 2009, you could mine like 10 Bitcoins a day from your crappy old laptop. And that's not the case anymore, because something that you need to understand how mining works is there's something called the Bitcoin difficulty rate or the mining difficulty rate. So as more and more Bitcoins are being mined, the difficulty rate increases and it requires more and more computational power to mine a Bitcoin. So in understanding that, something else I want you to understand is that there are going to be 22 million Bitcoins ever to be mined. And last week, the 17 million Bitcoin was mined, right? So 17 million Bitcoins have been mined so far. So now, if you was to get your old laptop out and start trying to mine Bitcoins, it would take you hundreds of years to mine one Bitcoin. Now, why is that? Well, that's because the difficulty rate continues to increase as more and more Bitcoins are being mined, and it also increases depending on how many people are mining at that time. But I don't want to get too technical on that. All you need to understand is that as more and more Bitcoins are mined, it requires more and more computational power. And this is where Omnia come in. So Omnia, a little bit of background on the company and who they are. It was created by a gentleman named Robert Velg, and Robert Velg he's a very smart cookie. He's been mining cryptocurrencies since early 2011. His personal net worth is over 10,000 Bitcoins. 10,000 Bitcoins at current market value is like, $93 million. So he's done very well for himself and understands the mining side of it extremely well. He's been mining for institutional investors for many years. And then when Omnia was created, it was created so that it was made available to all levels of investors, right down to people that only had as little as $100 to invest into mining. So that was unobtainable before. And this is where Omnia comes in. And Milan Sormaz is the CEO, and you can actually go to omniatech.com. That's omniatek.com. Wait till after this presentation to do that, and you can check out more on the company and also read more about the team of people that we've got that are heading up Omnia, and read their profiles and so on. So just some stats for you. Omnia were founded in 2017. They're a registered company. They're now active in 198 countries. I know it only says 195 there. And that's due to the rapid expansion that we're having. We can't even update our slides quick enough. Omnia are a hash power service provider. Hash power is just, again, a technical term for the amount of computational power that is required to mine Bitcoins, okay? So we're mining various cryptocurrencies, like I said, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dash so far. However, we're going to be introducing Bitcoin Cash and also Monero very soon. This is a really key point. Omnia own all of their hardware outright. So they're not affiliated with any other cloud-based mining operation in any shape or form whatsoever. They ownership of the entire hardware, and they also maintain and service the hardware themselves as well. And they're having constant expansion. Now, when I first looked at Omnia, the first thing I wanted to see was, give me evidence of the mining operation. And I touched on this a little bit before about how the cryptocurrency space, unfortunately, there are some sharks around that are trying to prey on new investors, unsuspecting investors, and There's unfortunately been some companies that have paraded themselves as mining operations, yet there was never any evidence of their mining operation. The CEO and the board of directors never showed themselves. It was also cryptic, and unfortunately, they were nothing more than, you know, Ponzi schemes. So this is, you know, and I had so many of those introduced to me and shown to me over the space of the last 12 months, and of course, did my due diligence and turned every single one of them down. So the first thing I asked when Omnia was shown to me was, give me evidence of the mining operation. And thankfully, the gentleman that introduced me to this webinar today, a good friend of mine and now business partner, Bruno, he did the very best thing possible. He flew 26 hours to Sweden and jumped on the plane, you know, got off the plane in minus 20-degree weather, bloody cold over there. And there's a reason they do that, and I'll get into that in a minute. And walked through these mining farms with Robert Velg, the founder of Omnia, and took videos of all of it. So if you're yet to see those videos and you'd like to, just reach out to the person that invited you along to this webinar, and we'll get those videos through to you, because that showed me, yeah, excellent, above board mining operation. And they're very transparent. I like that. They've got nothing to hide, and they're running some very sizable operations here. So the top left one is their Sweden mining farm. They're now actually running two mining farms out of Sweden now. And Omnia have been very strategic with their placement of mining farms, because one of the downsides to mining, and there's been a lot of people over the years that have tried to set up their mining operations from home or from their garage. And like I said, many years ago, that was profitable to do so. Unfortunately, it's very, very difficult to run one for yourself now. And the reason being is these mining computers require huge amounts of power. They run very, very hot. So cooling is a huge issue, and where a lot of the expenses comes from to keep these computers cool. So Omnia, being, you know, smart as they are, have set up all of their mining farms in, you know, very cold climates, and they're also utilizing green energy. In fact, they're using thermal energy to power all of these mining farms, and it requires huge amounts of power to run them. And that's actually another key point, because a lot of people that are looking at the crypto space, that are, you know, considerate of the, you know, the green energy side of it, and the effects it has on the environment. One of the stats floating around is the amount of power it requires to mine one Bitcoin can power a small town for a few days. So it is definitely having an effect on the environment. And this is where Omnia are reducing that by using thermal energy, which is very smart, and obviously running in very cold climates. So then we've got the Austrian mining farm as well. That's another huge setup. And then lastly, the Armenian operation. This is without a doubt going to be the largest mining operation on the planet, and our yet most exciting one. So what Omnia have done is they've built partnership with the Armenian government, and they actually have close ties with the Armenian president. In fact, the Armenian president is going to be presenting at Omnia's official launch in Armenia in August of this year. And what the president then did is him, along with his government, made some changes to their country's laws around cryptocurrency and allowed their country to become the first cryptocurrency friendly country, which then allowed Omnia to not only step in and run this huge mining operation in Armenia, but it also allowed them to set up the first cryptocurrency bank. So yes, Omnia have a cryptocurrency bank set up in Armenia, which is, you know, phenomenal. So here's some stats for you guys. This Sweden farm is running over 40,000 Bitcoin miners. And just to give you a bit of an idea, if you can see my mouse here, this one square here is one Bitcoin miner. So if you can imagine 40,000 of those, the size of farm that they're running in Sweden. Now, this Armenian one has just been renovated. It's an old shopping centre. Omnia have completed the renovations about 2 weeks ago. They're shifting in their first 40,000 Bitcoin, Ethereum and Dash miners right now. And when this operation is running at full capacity, this is going to have upwards of 120,000 mining computers. Remember, that little square there is one Bitcoin miner. So it gives you a bit of an idea of how big these operations are. And this answered another one of my questions that I had when I was first looking at this, not only as an investment vehicle, but also as an opportunity to capital raise on behalf of Omnia. And that's something I'll talk to you a little bit about later on as we get into this presentation. So one of my big questions was, are Omnia ahead of the curve? Meaning, are they going to have enough hash power to stay in front of the large amount of investors that are coming on board every single day? And the answer is yes. They are expanding rapidly and well in front of that, which is great to know. So now that I've given you a bit of a background of who Omnia are and how they fit in and the mining size and the mining operations that they're running, now we can run some figures together, guys, and show you why this could be a good investment for you and something to consider instead of just going to market and buying Bitcoin. So what we'll do, guys, is we'll run the numbers together on this $25,000 mining contract. And as you can see here, there are a whole range of different mining contracts available. So we can really cater for any level of investor, and it really is a get in where you fit in opportunity. So we can cater for an investor as low as $100 right through to as high as 100,000. In fact, we can do multiple $100,000 mining contracts. And we've had investors invest, over $1.5 million into one mining contract before with Omnia. So we can cater for any level of investor. So we'll run the figures together on a $25,000 mining contract. So a $25,000 mining contract generates 142,857 gigahash. And gigahash is just the term for the amount of hashing power that is then provided by this level of investment. And hashing power, remember what I said, is just the amount of computational power that is being output and how much computational power is assigned to the investor. So what happens here is Omnia keep 50% of this hashing power, and we as the investor get the other 50%. So we are allocated 71,428 gigahash. Now, you might be asking, why does Omnia get 50%? Well, Omnia take care of all of the overheads of running these mining farms. So as you can imagine, the overheads are huge. Not only do you have to house these Bitcoin miners, these computing equipment, so you've got the real estate, but then you've got the huge cost of power. You've got to be able to maintain and service these. So Omnia are taking care of all of that. And then also, lastly, a portion of that investment goes back into funding Omnia's compensation plan, which again, I'll explain to you as we get into the latter part of this presentation. So all we need to understand is we as the investor keep 50% of that. Now of that 50% we get, that's 71,428, that's the numbers we need to run. So what we do now is we go to a third-party website called cryptocompare.com. Cryptocompare.com allows us to click onto mining, then onto Bitcoin, and this is where anyone that is considering investing into mining or running their own mining operation from home would come and run the numbers on the hashing power to see what sort of returns and how much Bitcoin they're going to receive from it. So if I go back, I've got a short memory, guys, 71,428. So we need to put 71,428 into the hashing power. Now in the power consumption, normally you would have to put in how much watts you required, and then obviously the cost per kilowatt for us here in Australia is 26 cents per kilowatt. We don't have to put any of that into here. Why? Because Omnia take care of all the expenses. So essentially from an investment standpoint, we keep 100% of the 71,428 gigahash output. So zero here, and we don't have to pay for the pool fee either. So it's zero everywhere. So what this is telling us is right now, based on the current price of Bitcoin, that a $25,000 mining contract will give us roughly $1,224 US dollar profit per month. Now, let's go back to this for a second. With a $25,000 mining contract, if we were to go to the market right now with 25K, knowing that Bitcoin's trading at over $9,000, roughly how many Bitcoins could we buy? Well, it's 9,927. So we could agree that it's going to be roughly 2.7 Bitcoins. So if you was to go to market right now with 25K and purchase Bitcoin, you'd get 2.7 Bitcoins. If we was to take that same $25,000 investment and fund it into an Omnia mining contract, this is going to start to mine 24 hours a day for us, and this is going to generate 1.63 Bitcoin for the year. So as you can see, there's a per day output, a per week, per month, and there's also a fiat, a US dollar amount. However, we don't want to focus on the US dollar amount because that is going to fluctuate depending on the price of Bitcoin. And there are many analysts out there that are predicting Bitcoin to reach 50K by Christmas. Now, who knows what Bitcoin's going to be trading at by Christmas? However, we can all agree there's a lot of upside to this market. So if Bitcoin was to hypothetically trade at 50K by Christmas, what's that as an increase? 9, 18, 20, 30, 45. It's roughly 5 times, right? So this fiat amount or US dollar amount would 5 times. So we'd now be earning over $6,000 per US dollars per month based on the same mining contract. So you get the idea there, guys. That's going to fluctuate all the time with a huge amount of upside in it. So what we really need to focus on is how much Bitcoin are we getting? So we're going to mine 1.63 Bitcoin in our first year. Now, in our second year, we're not going to quite mine that same 1.63. If you can remember, I explained to you that the difficulty rate increases slightly each year as more and more Bitcoins are mined. So we can safely say that we'll probably only mine 1.5 Bitcoin in our second year. So if in our second year, if you add 1.6 with 1.5, that's going to give us a figure of 3.1, correct? Now, remember the numbers we ran before. If you was to take your $25,000 to market, you'd be able to buy 2.7 Bitcoin. Now, that 2.7 Bitcoin will always be 2.7 Bitcoin. Now, of course, the fiat value of that will continue to fluctuate and most likely increase over the coming years. However, you'll only ever have 2.7 Bitcoin, whereas if you was to invest it with Omnia, here we are only 2 years into it and we're already at roughly 3.1 Bitcoin. Now, here's the really cool thing. Omnia's mining contracts are lifetime mining contracts. And our competition, you might have heard of some other companies like Genesis Mining and Hashflare, both above board companies running legitimate mining operations just like Omnia are. However, they only offer 2-year mining contracts. And this is where Omnia really stand out for an investor. So Omnia will mine for lifetime of the crypto market. And if Bitcoin ever becomes unprofitable to mine, Omnia will then shift your hashing power to the next most profitable coin to mine, i.e. Ethereum, Dash, Monero, Bitcoin Cash, and so on. I think you get the picture. So let's continue with the numbers. After 3 years, we'll probably only mine 1.4 Bitcoin because remember the difficulty rate continues to increase. So help me with the numbers here, guys. We're at 1.6 and we added 1.5, so that was 3.1. Add another 1.4, that is now 3.5, right? 4.5, 4.5. I'm talking the numbers down. So here we are now after 3 years into our mining contract with Omnia, and we've mined roughly 4.5 Bitcoin. How many Bitcoin does the guy have that just went to market? 2.7, right? So you can get the picture here. The numbers from an investment standpoint really stack up and make sense. And this is why I've invested heavily myself into Omnia and also gone on to participate in capital raising for Omnia. Because I really believe this is such a phenomenal way for any investor, whether you're an experienced seasoned crypto trader and investor that's got your money spread across all sorts of different altcoins and ICOs. This is a great way to diversify your portfolio and actually remove some of that market risk, because we all know that market moves up and down, particularly the alt market, in a pretty incredible fashion. So this is a great way to be able to diversify, take some of your profits from trading, put it into a mining contract and start to accumulate Bitcoin that way. And also from a brand new investor standpoint, this is just pure gold, because it removes all of that, oh man, where do I start? Do I have to open an exchange? Where do I go? Where do I store it? What do I do? It can be quite scary and confronting. So to be able to just invest straight into a mining contract, have Omnia take care of all of the technicals for it, and you just get daily Bitcoin outputs, it's absolutely perfect. So from an investor standpoint, this is how it works. Number one, you select your mining plan. Now, how do you select your mining plan? Well, I always ask an investor, how many Bitcoins would you like to have? And if you was to go to the market right now and buy Bitcoins, how many would you buy? And if someone says, I'd like to buy 1 Bitcoin, great, then you need a $9,000 mining contract. That's the equivalent, right? So we can help you with that. And if you wanted to talk one-on-one with any of us, we'd be more than happy to do that, help you select what mining contract might be good for you. Then you make a one-time payment. And we've got some really, really exciting news. This is like hot off the press, guys. We've actually got a phenomenal relationship with a gentleman named Alex, who is the owner of bitcoindealers.com. And he provides a service of allowing people to send their fiat, being Australian dollars, to their company account, and they release the Bitcoin to your wallet. And this is getting rid of what was a big hurdle for a new investor who wanted to get 10, 20, 30, 50K, into the market, having to set up exchange accounts and go through the KYC process and then only being able to transfer 1,000 a day and then 2,000 a day. It was a timely, it was a process that wasn't quick, put it that way. So we've got a phenomenal relationship there. And here's the cool thing, guys. We've actually been able to negotiate a 15% reduction on the fee for exclusive for our Omnia business partners. And Alex has helped us to get tens of thousands of dollars in the market over the last couple of months. And it's a brilliant service. And because of the relationship we have with Alex, myself and Bruno, he is allowing us to have an investor send that fiat, take a screenshot of the transfer, a screenshot of their driver's license, and then he releases the Bitcoin instantly because we're verifying that investor. So phenomenal service, guys. And that's, if you're already a business partner with Omnia and you're joining with us to capital raise, that would be getting you really excited. So some great news for us all, guys. So number one, you select your mining plan. Number two, you make that one-time payment in Bitcoin. So this is where Alex comes into it. You can't fund a mining contract with fiat. Well, actually, that's not true because Omnia now have their Armenian bank account set up, and you actually can fund a mining contract with a US dollar wire transfer. However, if you didn't want to wait for go through the traditional banking system and incur those wire transfer fees, then like I said, we can get you into the market in as quick as a 45-minute turnaround. It's super fast. So once Omnia has received the Bitcoin into their wallet, that then activates your mining contract, and the mining starts in 14 days' time. So there's a 14-day cooling off period, and the payouts then take place daily. This is what it looks like. So you get access to your own back office. They do daily mining, an overview of all results. It's requestable at any time, full transparency, and then minimizing the costs. So this is really another key factor here, guys, being requestable at any time. Another huge red flag with any mining operation or so-called mining operation is when they try and tie up an investor's capital for long periods of time, i.e. you invest with us and you're not allowed to withdraw for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. It's utter rubbish. Omnia are allowing us to request it at any time, and I've done that multiple times now. You can do that, which is phenomenal. So from here, guys, if you was brought to this webinar purely from an investment standpoint only, you was looking to come on as an investor with Omnia, fund a mining contract, then this is actually the end of the presentation for you. And you're more than welcome to leave the webinar at this point, and please get back in touch with the person that invited you along. And if you would like to go on to fund a mining contract, we'll be more than happy to help you do that. And thank you so much for joining with us. Now, for those of you that want to stay on, we have a second part to the Omnia presentation, which is joining with us in capital raising. Now, this is where it becomes super exciting, guys. And if you're still with us on the line, we got some really exciting information to share with you. Now, if you was to join with us and capital raise on behalf of Omnia, meaning you've now funded your own mining contract and you've got friends, business contacts, family that also want to fund a mining contract or have interest in it, you'll be able to invite them along to a webinar like this, or set up even a one-on-one. We'd be more than happy to present a one-on-one for your business contacts. Myself, Bruno, there's plenty of other people in the Omnia team that are capable of running these presentations. And you are rewarded with a 10% commission from direct referral. So if someone in your network, a contact or anyone, was to fund a $25,000 mining contract, for instance, Omnia will reward you with a $2,500 US dollar, $2,000 US dollar commission. So it's 10% off of the points. Okay, so it's effectively 8% off the total amount. So this is really exciting, guys, and another phenomenal income stream. And then there is the full compensation plan of Omnia. And this is where Omnia are utilizing the direct selling industry. And direct selling, you might know it as network marketing or MLM. And this is how Omnia have been able to raise over $200 million already. And they're only, 9 months into business. We will hit $1 billion in capital raise in record time. We're going to break some serious records in this industry. And this is why I'm super excited. And also from a timing perspective, guys, we're in a completely unsaturated market in terms of Omnia. It's so brand new here. So you're seeing this at a phenomenal time. So if you're still with us on the webinar now, you're more than welcome to get excited with us here, guys, because timing's perfect. So you can actually fund a mining contract up here yourself. And if you was to then introduce someone on the left, and that was to do a 500-point mining contract, and then the right, a 500-point mining contract, that would actually, you would reach the first rank in the company, which is a Jade. And this is what the ranking looks like. So we've got Jade, then Pearl, Sapphire, Ruby, and Emerald, and I'll go through these a little bit more in depth in just a moment. But as you reach these ranks, you can see that there are some pretty lucrative incomes that come along with these ranks. So as a Sapphire, you're earning a $2,000 US for the month as a Sapphire, and as a Ruby, or $4,000 US for the month. So this is on top of your own personal mining income, guys. So it's very lucrative space. And as you can imagine, with cryptocurrencies being the new kid on the block, and everyone, talking about it and wanting to learn how to invest, but not knowing where to start. And this is where, we can really join forces together and partner with Omnia to go out and capital raise on their behalf, knowing that we're getting our investor into a sound investment, a great place for them to start, a great way to accumulate Bitcoin, and also be rewarded very handsomely by Omnia. Now, here's the cool thing. Omnia pay these commissions out of their 50% share of the hash power. So it doesn't come out of your investors' cut, makes no difference to them. This is just Omnia saying, hey, thanks for partnering with us and capital raising with us. So this is what the ranks look like, guys. First one being Jade. I just showed you how to reach the rank of Jade. It's really simple. It's just introducing one investor on your right who's done a 500 point contract, and then a 500-point contract on their right. So really simple to reach the rank of Jade. To be a Pearl just means you've helped one person in your network be a Jade on your right, and one person on your left be a Jade. So we're just now duplicating and helping everyone to continue to create ranks of Jade. So that will then put you at Pearl, and then the next rank after that is Sapphire, then Ruby, then Emerald, Diamond, Blue Diamond, Black Diamond, and Crown Diamond, as you can see. So as a Jade, you will be earning somewhere around $300-400 US for the month, which is again on top of your mining income. As a Pearl, you're sort of upwards around the $800-900 US for the month. And then as Sapphire, they reward you with a iPad for reaching this rank. So by now you can see you've helped 4 people in your network reach the rank of Pearl, and you will obviously not only do you get the iPad, but you've got over a $2,000 US a month income at that rank. Next rank after that is Ruby. This is a rank that I'm currently sitting at. I've been with Omnia for, just over 6 weeks. So you can move through this, at whatever pace you want. However, you can move really fast if you wish, because everyone's wanting to get into the crypto market right now. And we're finding this a very, very easy product to promote. And a lot of investors are jumping on board after seeing these presentations. So you can definitely move through the ranks quite fast. At the rank of Ruby, you get a MacBook Air, as well as over $4,000 a month in income. The next rank after that's an Emerald. The gentleman that introduced me onto the call, Bruno, he's reached this prestigious rank of Emerald already, only being in Omnia for a matter of months. And here's the really exciting thing, guys. There's literally only one Emerald in Australia. There's only one Ruby in Australia, being myself. There's only 4 or 5 Sapphires. There's probably, I don't know the exact number, maybe 50 Pearls and 100 and something Jades or something like that. So it is a brand new market. You're seeing this company at the most perfect time. So if you have any interest in this whatsoever, don't procrastinate, guys. Timing is essential in this industry. And we're going to see some huge things happen, not only just in the Australian market over the next 12, 18, 24 months, 3 years, 4 years. And we'd love to see you capitalize off all of that growth and position yourself in the network in a way that you're benefiting from all of that. So Emerald, you get rewarded with a dream travel trip. The next rank after that is Diamond. Diamond is you're rewarded with a Caribbean travel. It's a cruise trip with the company. By now, you're earning in excess of $20,000 US. Emerald, you're earning in excess of $10,000 US. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. After that is Blue Diamond. Blue Diamond, you get rewarded with a Porsche Macan. This is title in hand, so keys in hand. It's not a car program. It's actually a paid-for car given to you. So that's at the rank of Blue Diamond. After that, it's Black Diamond, Maserati, Crown Diamond, Ferrari. You get the picture, right? Essentially, there is unlimited amount of upside to this comp plan. Whatever goal you have, we've got the comp plan to match it, and we'd love to work with you at whatever pace you wish. So just in recap, guys, and we're in closing now, there's 6 ways to earn with Omnia. One, as an investor, is your daily mining. And that alone is such an awesome income stream to be getting daily Bitcoin outputs in your wallet, whether you get out of bed or not, right? It's so important to have residual income, particularly now residual income in the crypto space, very powerful. So that's daily mining. 2 is direct sales. Remember, you get 10% off any investor that you bring to the table. And if you have no interest in the networking side of it, then you can literally utilize these first 2 steps by your own mining and direct sales, where you bring potential investors. We present on your behalf. If they fund a mining contract, you get rewarded with that commission from Omnia. Then if you want to really earn from the compensation plan, this is where the next 4 steps come in, where you can earn team commissions, leadership matching bonuses, team volume bonuses, and ranking bonus and rewards. So that is the end of our presentation, guys. So at this point, after what you've just seen, you'll find yourself in one of 3 categories. You'll either be an A, B, or a C. And A is, Kane, I'm all in. And it's as simple as you going back to the person that invited you to this webinar and telling them that, I'm all in. How do I get started? They'll send you a link, and it's a simple sign-up process. You'll then get access to your own Omnia dashboard. You'll be able to begin immediately. You can then make a decision on size of mining contract that you would like to have and how much Bitcoin you'd like to be earning daily. And we can help facilitate with that if you need to get fiat money, AUD into crypto and so on with our Bitcoin dealer contacts. So that's if you're an A all in. And if you are, welcome aboard. Definitely an exciting time. We've got a bright future ahead of us, that's for sure. If you're a B, you're like, yeah, I like what I see, but I've got some questions. And if that's you, then again, go back to the person that's invited you along, and we'd be more than happy to set up a one-on-one Zoom with myself and you and the person that invited you, or with Bruno, or any of our other leaders that we've got within the Omnia team. Or if you're a C, you're like, man, I hated everything I just saw. I've got no interest in accumulating cryptocurrency. I believe the blockchain's rubbish. I wish the person that invited me to this webinar never did. That's how long have I gone? That's 54 minutes of my life I'm never getting back. So if that's you, that's also fine, right? This is an opportunity that we're presenting. It will be for most people, however, it won't be for some. If that's you, that's fine. Again, thank you so much for coming along and joining with us on this webinar and having an open mind to see what we're doing. So wherever you fall in that category, guys, A, B, or C, we respect that, and thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. For those of you that we are going to be working with, welcome aboard. Man, we've got an exciting future ahead of us, and you've definitely need to thank the person that introduced you to this, because you've been shown this at a really perfect time. So yeah, guys, thanks again for your time. And I've said that 100 times, but I really appreciate anyone that, just spends a bit of time in an evening to jump in and see what we've got going. So thanks very much, guys, and we'll speak to you all very soon. Cheers.